What's up, guys? I'm BTC. It turns out the rumors were true. Sombra is getting nerfed, and I got all the details coming right up. The other day, I made a video talking about the supposed Sombra nerfs that were a rumor kind of leak from a Contenders player. And I talked about where the character was prior to the buff, where it is now, and what Blizzard should be doing in order to kind of correct the character. And as it turns out, they're doing exactly what I suggested. So the nerfs actually aren't that bad. So let's jump right into it. Jeff Goodman over on the official Overwatch forums, he said, "We're making some changes to Sombra next patch to address these issues. There are two main changes coming. The first is anytime Sombra's hack is interrupted by damage, hacking will go on cooldown for 2 seconds. With this change, Sombra will have to be more careful about choosing when and who to hack instead of just holding down the button and waiting for people to miss and or reload, etc. And number two, there is currently a 0.1 second window of time at the end of a hack where it cannot be cancelled via line of sight or other effects, such as Tracer's Recall, Zarya's Bubbles, etc. This exists so that it doesn't constantly get broken by very small line of sight blockers such as light posts, signs, etc. We are removing this window and instead now using multiple line of sight checks to make sure the small line of sight blockers are still not a problem. In addition to this, we're speeding up the update rate of her hacking so that it is more responsive in checking for these fail conditions. The combination of these things means it should be much more reasonable to respond to a hack targeting you. The intent of all her recent changes is to still increase her overall strength and viability. We're keeping a close eye on her to make sure she lands in a good place." Alright, so let's break these down. The first thing here is, one of the problems with Sombra is you can just hold down right click, and because it is so fast that really, I mean, if the person isn't constantly damaging you, it only takes 0.6 seconds for the hack to go off. So you have to be constantly taking damage in order for that to get disrupted, and it's really easy for a Sombra to kind of just like strafe back and forth, especially if you're going against a character that doesn't have a very high rate of fire. So now it's kind of risk-reward, which I think is totally fine. It's only 2 seconds, it's not the full cooldown, so after those 2 seconds are up, you can try again. As for the second thing, this is exactly what I was talking about in my previous video. It's the line of sight issues, where once you start using the hack, it will finish it pretty much no matter what. It doesn't matter if they use an escape ability, they break line of sight by going behind a wall, whatever it happens to be, the hack will still go off even though the player technically avoided it, right? Like, they still get affected. This is the exact same issue that we had with Hook 1.0 for Roadhog. When he would throw the hook, you would avoid it, but somehow it would still grab onto you and pull you in. So what they're doing is, it looks like they're adding a lot of the same functionality that they have for the new version of the Roadhog hook, where there's a multiple checks on whether or not you actually have line of sight and all that sort of stuff, because apparently, like, lampposts and little signs and stuff are a pretty big issue when it comes to the line of sight. I remember when, this is a little off track here, but in the early days of the game, you could actually hide behind, like, those super tiny road signs. You could hide behind those, and the Diva ult wouldn't get you. So it was kind of ridiculous. I don't know why the signs in this game create such a problem, but this should resolve it. So both of these changes are nerfs, and I do agree with both of them. However, I have to point out that now that they're going in and they're making hack weaker, they're going to have to kind of bump up something else to kind of compensate for it. Because Sombra isn't like a super powerful character at all, in any way, shape, form, or fashion. She went from pretty low tier garbage to basically viable under the current situation. And with this change, they're kind of dropping that down a little bit. Like, not too much, but I think that they should probably bump up something else just a little bit. I'm not really sure what they could bump up, but remember, she went from being really bad to viable, and now that you're starting to roll back some of that, then you're gonna have to compensate somewhere else, right? Okay, I understand. Fix the hack, the line of sight issues, get rid of the spammy stuff, but bump something else up a little bit to kind of, compensate a little and make the character keep that viability that she's maintained. What do you guys think about all these changes? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out my Discord server. Follow me on Twitch and Twitter. The links for that stuff are down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault. Also, special thanks to all my Patreon supporters for helping to make this all possible. If you'd like to see what kind of cool rewards you can get for supporting the channel, check the links on screen and down below.